Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Endless OS. Now this operating system has its own desktop environment and it is very sleek. It's based off GNOME, well I don't know why I keep saying GNOME, it's GNOME 3 and it looks very sleek. Now this is their website, also looks very sleek, and they also apparently have their own computers as well, which you can see here. I don't know exactly how much they cost, but I presume they don't cost like ridiculous amounts of money anyway. So anyway, it is really nice, and we're going to be installing this in this virtual machine today, virtual machine dual boot if it's possible. And I just wanted to show you this. This is their download page. I'll talk more about the operating system in just a minute. Because when I first wanted to review this, I wanted to download an ISO file, and that is easy enough. But what I noticed was on Windows, you download an exe file that will, well, it'll basically do a dual boot on your laptop. So I'll just show you this as well. This is for Linux and Mac, and this is also for if you want an ISO file. Now you can't, to my knowledge, you can't get an ISO file from the exe installer on Windows, but on here you can. It comes in the form of a torrent file, and I mean, I guess for experienced users this is okay, but for people like who've never used a torrent before, it can seem quite intimidating. They don't quite know how it works, and they're a bit nervous about using it because they don't know what the implications will be for themselves or their computers, and they don't know. You understand, it's just an unknown for them. But anyway, that doesn't really matter because Ubuntu's got a built-in torrent whatchamacallit. So yeah, here is the Windows installer, so I'm going to go and download this now, and I'm going to go and open this. Now as you can see, I'm using Vivaldi. It's a very nice browser. Oh, here we go. It's got a digital signature as well, as you just saw. Very nice. Yeah. Here we go. So it's easy. It's an easy enough installer at the moment. Now let's see if we can get an ISO file. Yes, you can actually do that. Right, so let's just go ahead and install Endless. And the full version is 16.3 gigabytes. That is a tremendous amount of space, but I guess, well, it's a modern operating system and it has all the apps and content, so it's reasonable. I'm going to go with the basic version though for the moment, and 16, about 10.9 since that's the minimum. Next. Right, so I will pause this, well, I'll speed the video up in just a moment. Let's hope that doesn't take forever. Right, so as I said before, it's got its own desktop environment, which is based on GNOME 3, which has been modified to make it sort of simpler to use and more streamlined. Its general UI actually, in my opinion, looks somewhat like Android, because it's just all like, or Chrome OS, because of the way it's sort of laid out. I suppose it's just so sort of Androidy, but you'll see that in a minute. And it also runs on old 32-bit systems as well as 64-bit systems, so it is actually really compatible with older machines, which is very good because OSs like Ubuntu, for instance, and I think Elementary OS has also dropped support for 32-bit operating systems now. I think Ubuntu 18.04 was the last version of mainstream Ubuntu to support 32-bit systems, and Lubuntu still supports it in Ubuntu 18.10. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be in 1904 in Lubuntu, but who knows. I mean, Endless OS still supports it, so it's very good of it. And it will run on 32-bit machines so long as it has I was about to say 32 gigabytes of RAM then. No, 2 gigabytes of RAM to play with. And Asus, of all things, weirdly runs this distro on some of their computers. Here's the web page. So that's quite interesting, really. I mean, I never thought that a company like that would put an operating system like this on one of their machines. Especially, it's a bit obscure as well, so it surprised me, really. So anyway, I will leave this to download now on 2 megabytes per second internet connection. The joys of living it out in the countryside. Right, time to speed up the video. Right, so the install appears to be completed now. Let's just close that, and handy Vivaldi there. I just thought I'd load up their webpage. That's actually an incredibly good browser. I mean, in a VM it's going to be slightly slower, but on a real machine it's actually really good. Right, so that's out of the way. Let's just reboot this now. And I'm about to find out whether dual booting a system in a virtual machine is actually possible. I have reservations, if I'm honest, but who knows, it might work. Oh no, it's gone straight back to Windows 8 again. Right, so let's just... no. Cancel. Yes, this is good. And then it can choose an operating system, that's good. Let's go with Endless OS then, obviously. Oh, I didn't think it'd do that. Right. Oh, I love his boot screen. I don't know if you saw that, that was absolutely great. Well, I'm really looking forward to this one. More than most of them, actually. I mean, I've been meaning to do this review for years. Well, I don't know about years, but about a year now. But yeah, I just haven't got around to it, really. So, as we can see here, English United States, that would do, even though I'm in the UK. Yeah, let's just go with that. It's fine. Skip. And there we are. Won't bother with a password. That was possibly one of the easiest installs I have ever done. There was no argy-bargy, there was nothing, no blooming complicated terminal commands or anything like that. That was simpler than Windows, in fact, and that's saying something. So here we are. It is all done now, and I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, so this is the UI. I'm trying to figure out what this thing is up here, because I presume you can like slide that down or something, but... Oh, there we go. Oh, that's interesting. So anyway, we'll leave that up there. I presume there's a nice animation effect, but it's a VM, remember, so it's not going to do that. We've got apps like Let's try to open Facebook. Is it actually just like an app, or is it a web browser with... Well, I suppose it is anyway, but is it just a Firefox window or something? Does appear to be, because it's got the desktop login page. But yeah, I mean, that's nice anyway. I suppose it's nice to have like an app that can go straight to your social media. One thing I would say though was it would be difficult to tell whether this was like updated or what it was based off of. I mean, it's decent though. I mean, no other distros that I know have that. It's got YouTube as well. I presume that would be the same thing. Social. They're all put in these groups, look. Oh, that's very nice. You can click on the middle of a tile and then it'll open that. Bottom there's a name. I wonder if you like could combine two of them, like put one on there or whatever. Or stick Facebook inside that group. I think that's worked. Yes, it has. Add folder. There we are. So that's a really nice UI actually. So this is like your home screen, because I can't get it to go to a desktop. Let's open Chrome as well. Now, here's the moment of truth about whether this is the latest version, because we'll... yes, default browser, why not? I would go with Firefox, but seeing as Chrome is pre-installed, might as well use that instead. Oh, hello. Adblock Plus, whoever you are. Oh well. So, yes, this is the latest version, because look at this, you've got the... Well, I presume it is anyway, because you've got this sort of slopey interface rather than this sort of... it's more of an industrial interface. I don't know why I say that, but it's just... It's more... The new version is more natural with its UI anyway. And it's got a nice ad blocker which they've put on there as well, which is handy, because literally no one cares about ads anymore. And it's got LibreOffice, see which version it is, whether it's got that new UI design or not. Presume so. Yes, it does. So this is in fact the latest and most updated version, and I must say, on first glance, I absolutely love this interface. See what documents is based on, what kind of file manager is. Yeah, I mean this one's used by loads of people. I think Endless OS, not Endless, Elementary OS, sorry, similar names, uses this file manager, I believe. I don't think that's native to this operating system though, correct me if I'm wrong. And another handy thing, they've got WhatsApp as well. This is a really nice operating system, and this sort of, you know what this reminds me of, being a sort of retro technology geek? This full screen interface with apps on screen. I mean, it's sort of like a bit reminiscent of Windows 8, and except it's nicer, because like you could open a program and here we go. If I minimize that, will we see a desktop or will we see the apps menu? Will it minimize? Come on. Will it minimize? No, I think it may have crashed. I mean, I am using this on 2 GB of RAM, seeing as that was what was required, but yeah, no, it's a bit frozen. Oh well, I'll leave it to it, but that's got Exploration Centre. How very interesting. Duolingo, very good. That is. My younger brother and sister use that to learn another language. So you can get out of it by doing that. Let's quick Google Chrome and relaunch it again. I'm going to once again try to well, there we go. So it's not like Windows 8 at all actually, because if I remember correctly, when you didn't have an app maximized, it would actually show a desktop in the background without the start menu button. But this one, it's like still got the apps in the background, but you have a window that can overlay it. So that is more advanced, in fact, than Windows 8. And this design almost reminds me of an old project that Microsoft abandoned years ago called Windows Neptune. And basically what that was an overhaul of the design of Windows. You didn't have, well, we weren't sure if they were going to keep the taskbar and the start menu or not, because you had all your applications laid out on the screen ready for you to interact with. And it was like a HTML page which loaded up on boot, and you could have windows that overlaid it, and it was a whole new thing. But they abandoned the project and merged the other business version of it into a project called Whistler, which eventually became Windows XP, and the whole idea of that got dropped again until Windows 8. So I mean, this is really nice, because it's a sort of succeeding Neptune, I suppose. Yeah, so we've got music, rhythm box naturally, and we've got quite a few other apps, but I'm sure the full version probably has so many more. And this is the basic version, and this is only just over 1 GB, and it's got LibreOffice, it's got Chrome, it's got rhythm box, it's got all these funny little social ones like Facebook, Gmail, etc. So yeah, this is really quite good, and it's got Duolingo on the system as well. So let's open the App Center. Here we go. So we've got Chrome already. Farming, of all things. Let's go with developer tools, the geeky version, or the geeky section, I should say. I remember Scratch from school. Cool, blimey. How weird that was. Visual Studio Code, very good. Microsoft made that available for Linux last year, I believe. They didn't make all of Visual Studio available, only the code. Hopefully they'll port the entire thing over one day. Right, well, that's the apps then. My internet connection is obviously failing us, but I'm gonna have a quick look through. I mean, this interface with like all installed and updates, it reminds me, is a sort of mashup between Elementary and Ubuntu with this App Center, although it's got its own sort of, like, it's got its own layout and it looks better, and they've got all these nice pictures. You can tell that this isn't that kind of Linux distro like, for example, Arch Linux, where it's designed for the really cutting edge users, which is great for them, but it's sort of a mild version of Linux, I'm finding, with this. Very good for the everyday user. Shall we get Audacity? I haven't used that in ages. I wonder if they've actually updated it or not. Because the last time I used that, you probably saw it if you look at my really old videos, which are rubbish if I'm perfectly honest. When I was using Ubuntu 16.04 and 14.04, you would have noticed when the video first started, I quickly minimised Audacity while I had a VM open in VirtualBox. So let's wait until that installs and then let's launch it. You can also donate, which is very nice. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if this is the official version, but oh, here we go. .2.2.2. Can't remember if that's the latest one or not. I mean, it's got a slightly different interface from what I remember. Let's see when it was released. Open exactly the same thing that was open a minute ago. 2018, so probably is. But yeah, I heard that they stopped releasing this for Linux for a while, and then they suddenly started releasing it on Linux again. I mean, didn't quite understand why they did that, but yeah. Anyway, so that's an application that we've installed and works fine. Shall we see if we can stick that in the new folder over here? So that's very nice indeed. And let's see if we can actually get anything out of a folder. Just out of curiosity to see if we can... It's as easy as that. I expected that to be a blooming tormenting process, which would end up in much anger, but no, it's actually really simple. Yeah, I mean, this is a blooming streamlined operating system, and as you saw while it was installing, it's a real shame that they haven't posted anything on social media for a while. I think they've got a Twitter account, but that's got nothing on it. And, well, from the time of recording anyway, and they've got a Facebook account with a blue tick, but they haven't posted anything since, like, I think it was June or July 2018, but that would have been on the video earlier on. So, yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful operating system, and I'm still intrigued by this. I thought you'd pull that down or something, and something could happen. Oh well. And you've got here, search Google or and more. This search for everyone's favourite operating system. There we go. And then you can search Google for Windows Vista, and you just press on Chrome. And then I presume that I'll open in a minute. Here it is. Yeah, so that's actually a really nice interface. Right, well, I believe that is that, really. I must say I'm fascinated by this. I've never really sort of encountered a operating system, a Linux one anyway, that is slightly obscure, yet is actually incredibly nice. So, how interesting. And if I remember correctly on their website, they've also got a really good sort of moral centre. I mean, I think they say they're trying to get less economically, like people in less economically developed countries, better access to computers and the internet to securely browse the internet anyway. And I really like what they're trying to do. And I mean, I like their desktop wallpaper as well, I must say. I love the mountain. But yeah, this is an incredibly nice operating system, and I really wish the development team of this all the best if they're watching with the future development of this system. And keep up the good work, 'cause I mean, what they're aiming for is brilliant, and the interface is great. And I always thought that this is just some sort of like ordinary interface. I thought, oh, no, that's going to be one of them ones which basically is an Ubuntu clone, and there's not much difference between the two, but there is a hell of a lot of difference. And I mean, it's so nice. Let's go get VLC, see what that does. Oh, this is going to open in the App Center, I believe. So let's download it. We all like VLC. Yeah, I suppose it's the same sort of morals as VLC, really. Trying to make their software available for everyone. And I really like the fact that I think the thing for them that is most important to keep is... if I can... Sorry, I'm stammering now. Is support for 32-bit operating systems. Like... oh, for goodness sake. No, what I mean is 32-bit computers, which are older, which are like 10-15 years old, because some people, and it was the same thing with me, I'll admit it, for a while before I eventually turned 16 and got a job, because there are a lot of people which are stuck with these older computers and who just can't afford to get a new one. And it's the same case with loads of people, especially across the developing world. So it is really good that they are maintaining support for these old 32-bit systems. And I really hope that they manage to spread the message of their system to those areas. So, I mean, it's Linux as a whole that's going to get more popular, and Linux basically stands for all things good as well. So, who knows, eh? Maybe one day this operating system will be the one that topples Windows from its throne and then reigns over the operating system world forever. So yeah. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed this video today. I'll leave VLC to continue its installation, and I will most certainly be installing this on quite a few of my computers that I've already got, and I really look forward to seeing what they do with this operating system later on. And now I've got to figure out how to, oh, there we go, power off. That's a nice little interface they've got there. So yeah, anyway, I will see you all in the next video, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. It'll probably be something based on Windows Longhorn again. So until then, I do hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, morning or evening, and goodbye.